Roll on. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Tuesday, September 20th, 2022 edition of regular Sebring City Council meeting. We'll call this to order and ask the mayor if he would lead us in both the invocation and the pledge of allegiance.
Please bow with me. Lord, thanks once again for just a wonderful area that we live in. We appreciate what you've provided. A few months ago, we prayed for rain and we got it. Now we pray to give it to somebody else. But we are very lucky and fortunate to be where we are. I ask that you watch over all our staff and all our citizens, and especially our first responders that put their life on the line every day. We ask that all we do in your name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mayor Shoup.
You're welcome.
Before we get into this evening's agenda, I would ask Clerk Haley to call the roll.
Mayor Shoup,
Here.
Bishop,
Here.
Carlisle,
Yes.
Mendel,
Here.
Stewart,
Here.
Detman.
Here. Item number 5 is to announce a business from the audience procedure. There's some paperwork there on the desk directly in front of me. Here, if you would like to speak with council on any item that is not on tonight's agenda, please come forward, fill out the paperwork, and give it to Clerk Haley. Thank you very much. Mayor's report, I guess we're going to hold item A until a little later in the agenda.
Yeah, Scott Dudley with the Florida League of Mayors was stuck behind a burning semi coming down there. He's coming out of Tallahassee, I believe.
Ouch.
Correct, Gary? Is he out of Tallahassee? So, so he called. He said he'd probably be here, hopefully about 1:45. So he's on the way. So we got a kind of a special presentation that we already did some of the presentation, but it involves some lady from, I don't know where she's from, but she's from around here. But and I do have to announce just a couple other items. Went to the NAACP banquet Saturday night, and our honoree Ada McGowan got the Gwen Sanders Hill Citizen Award. So we need to give Ada a good.
Very good.
And her family was just calm, let me tell you. I've seen them worse, let me tell you this. But she had 5 or 6 kids there, and one was still up in New York. So,
Great.
but it was a good program and well deserved. Ada's done a lot for our whole community actually, and we appreciate that, Ada. Thanks again, thanks to Carl Kuhl for organizing our lake cleanup. Had lake cleanup Saturday. Did a good job. Scott was the bag man, had to pick all the garbage up, so appreciate what Scott and the rest of Rotary did, trying to keep our town clean, and did a good job. So, and now something that I've been doing, I've done this in the past. It's kind of new for me because it's a new group that we had. Pam Elder was with the White Cane Awareness Day. She came here every year. They set up on the circle and have a little program there, and Pam is no longer with us, so she was a peach, and
Yep.
She did a good job, worked hard for blindness, and so I'm going to go ahead and ask for Melinda, James, and Michael, if you guys want to come up. I'll read a proclamation. Guys, you ready? Yeah. All right. Whereas the white cane or guide dog, which every low vision blind citizen of our city has the right to use, demonstrates and symbolizes his or her ability to work productively in a competitive employment. And whereas the white cane or guide dog, by allowing every low vision blind person to move freely and safely from place to place, makes it possible for him, her to participate fully and contribute to our society. Whereas motorists should be aware that the laws require that the low vision blind pedestrians carrying a white cane or using a guide dog should be given the right of way. And whereas Florida law calls upon employers, public and private, to be aware of and utilize employment skills of low vision blind citizens by recognizing their worth as individuals and their productive capacities as employees. And whereas through the public education and outreach efforts of Lighthouse Low Vision Education Center and the Red Cane Club, The citizens in our community can look forward to a continued support of information and education classes through the support groups and other opportunities for greater acceptance of low blind vision persons in Highlands County community. And now therefore be proclaimed, I, John Shute, Mayor of the City of Sebring, Highlands County, Florida, do hereby proclaim Saturday, October 22nd, 2022 as White Cane Awareness Day in Sebring, Highlands County, Florida, for the purpose of bringing a greater understanding of blindness and what it means to be low vision blind to the citizens of our community, and all citizens to be recognized the white cane and guide dog as instruments of safety and self-help for low vision blind pedestrians on our streets and highways. So, and October 22nd is
Yeah.
having the
Yes,
event
sir.
on the circle.
There's a
10
flyer about it.
to 2.
So 10 to 2 on the circle. They've done this, I don't know.
10 years
So-
now.
I was gonna say,
Agreed
as
on
long as
10
I've been a
years.
mayor, you guys have been doing this, so.
At least
but,
10 years.
So 10 to 2 on the circle. Let's,
I would like to say that.
go ahead, step up to the mic and give
My
your
name is Michael Grader. I took Pam Elder position. I'm the president of the Red Cane Support Group, and we'll be looking forward to seeing each and every one of you on October 22nd downtown around Sebring Circle.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you.
Anything else you'd all like to say?
I'd like to say that my name's James Zumble here. I'm a member of the Board of the Directors, and as well as Melinda here, Armstrong, Hobart. We're gonna continue to do what we have been doing in the past. We're gonna keep Pam Dream on. She's been a delightful lady and I'm part of my life for the last 5 years to help build our confidence up and facing each day as challenges that we have it all the time. And we encourage even all of you, City Council, to come, check us out. We got special people there. The Division of Blind Service is gonna be there. The Red Cane support gonna make sure everything goes smooth. And also that we're gonna have the Southeastern Guide Dog that will be there that help the veterans and just as well the low vision people. I have applied and I've been approved, so I'm waiting for a guide dog to come to me now.
Oh, wonderful.
So I'm looking for that challenge in my life, but I gotta let you know this. Don't knock me down because I have a disability. Just take on what the ability I'm able to do. And that's what Michael and I and Melinda have a husband who's totally blind. We are part of this community.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much.
You're
Thank
very
you.
welcome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, John.
I'm gonna keep this for,
Yes.
okay?
Yeah.
Our guests, thanks.
Council members, with that, I would direct your attention to item 6B, which dovetails into the mayor's proclamation. And this is a special event. There's an application that is attached. They are asking for the permission to have it at the date and time that they just mentioned, which is Saturday, October 22nd from 10 a.m. to 2:30. The purpose of the gathering obviously is to raise awareness about the white cane law. There are no city services, there are no additional fees. The certificate of insurance will be attached, or is attached. I would like to entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the event as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Mr. Bishop, Kathy, anybody from the audience want to comment on that before we vote? Kathy, call the roll.
Bishop.
Yes.
Cartwright.
Yes.
Mendo.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Benton.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. Guess I got a couple of things mixed up here tonight. I'll be okay. Consent agenda has items A through K. Ask council to make sure those are properly reviewed, and I will entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as attached or as brought forward. Anyone from the audience who want to discuss any item on the consent agenda? Any further discussion up here? Kathy, call the roll.
Sorry.
Call the roll.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Bishop.
Yes.
Cartwright.
Yes.
Mendo.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Benton.
Yes. There is no old business on this agenda, so item 10A, new business, is the Insurance Committee recommendation. Mrs. Robinson, please.
Good evening, council. The Insurance Committee met on September 7th. As you know, the city engaged with Garing Group this year to be broker. They've come to us with different recommendations for our plan for health, vision, dental, stop loss, as well as our TPA and COBRA. They did go out, place all of these services out to bid, and in the agenda item here, you'll see that the recommendations of the Insurance Committee are to go with the Cigna Open Access Plus, which is Cigna Direct, effective January 1st, 2023. The third-party administrator has been Anchor Benefits for many years, and through the bid process, it was the recommendation to terminate that agreement with them and move towards a relationship with Cigna as the TPA effective January 1st. The stop-loss reinsurance, we're looking at going with Nationwide, at least for the first 3 months of the new plan, and Garing is currently working to find another reinsurance or stop-loss carrier. The pharmacy benefit manager, Cigna, effective January 1st. Dental, vision, both with Cigna as well. COBRA would go with PNA Group. All of this would be effective January 1st. And then the next item that the Insurance Committee discussed was the premium rate changes. And Garing Group has recommended a 9% increase in premiums or contributions to the plan. Please note that the medical inflation rate is 14%, so that 9% is slightly less than the medical inflation rate. The Insurance Committee voted to increase employee premiums by 4.5%, with the remainder to be funded by the city. So employee rate increases would go if you have the base plan. We currently offer the base plan employee only at zero cost to the employee. That would remain the same, and all other increases would range from $0 to $12.93 per pay period. And that's reflective on the employee benefits executive cost summary that should be with your agenda item. You can note in the center column, it says a renewal of 9%. Midway down there, that page, there's an annual premium and a % increase and a dollar increase. So the city contribution would increase by $148,000, with the employee bearing $13,812 of an increase in premiums to the plan. And I can answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions, comments, or concerns from the dais?
You gotta thank Penny and Charlotte and her crew, Jared,
A lot
and those
of hard
guys
work.
for put a lot of work into us, and I think there's the benefit coming back to us too that doesn't show is what kind of rebates we can get.
Yes.
From our prescription, and I think last year we had, 6,000, and they project probably close to 60 or 70,000.
Of the rebate?
Yes.
Yes.
Pharmaceutical rebates.
We haven't been getting, so some of the increase is gonna be offset by that.
Correct.
And, so we took that into consideration also, that, we should, it should turn out to, it's not gonna be a net wash, but we're still gonna have an increase, plus our stop loss now is not a year.
Is-
It's-
Right, and they're still working through that right now.
So it's, 3 years? So that's gonna help greatly too, if we have some issues going down the road that could really
Right.
solve some of our issues. And
Some issues we've had.
Sean was telling us, I think one city or group that they were with that had a $5 million claim, that stop loss dropped and they had to pick it up,
Yeah,
so.
it was outside of the coverage period, but it was for a claim prior to, and because of the timing of when it was actually filed, it was the responsibility of the municipality, so.
I think this was a good move, and we'll get much better reporting. We'll know
Yep.
we'll know what we're getting charged for.
Yeah, so we've learned a lot too.
Yeah.
Over the
I agree.
last, several meetings. Yep. Comments, questions from the dais? I'll entertain a motion to approve it.
Make a motion to approve the insurance committee's recommendation as presented.
I second it.
Second by Mrs. Mendel. Anyone from the audience like to comment on the insurance committee's recommendations? Kathy, call the roll.
Bishop.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes.
Mendel.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Benton.
Yes. Okay.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Did you mean to leave off the council members' concerns, comments?
Did I miss that?
You did.
You know what I did? Let's back up. I do apologize for that. This procedural neglect on my part. So we're back to item 5, which is,
7.
I'm sorry?
7.
I'm sorry, 7, I'll be okay. Council members' concerns, comments, and liaison reports. Let's start with Mrs. Mendel, since she caught it for us.
Well,
Thank you.
I have a wonderful one. My husband and I Friday night went to the Highlands Little Theater to see the Beatles. Here are the Beatles. And it was delightful, another delightful program. And it was, took us back to our young personhood. And we were amazed to know that we knew all the words. So that was very cool. The Highlands Little Theater is a wonderful asset of our community, and they have their season tickets on sale now. We just renewed ours. We've had them for years and years, and we've never been disappointed. So that's a wonderful way to support them. So that's one thing I wanted to say. And then a concern, as the city council advised last meeting, several citizens have had a lot of questions about the CRA and how they do business. And so the city council advised that we go to a CRA meeting. So I did. We all went last Monday. And the board was there, and I've been advised to talk to some of the board members about some of the concerns. But Mr. Lydell informed us pretty quickly that they would not be taking any questions, that we could submit the questions, and they would do a written response, but they weren't going to do any public answering of questions. So I did receive back the answers, well, very unsatisfactory answers, within a couple of days. They were prompt with that, but both my husband and I received answers that weren't good, didn't answer questions, received answers that didn't make any sense. But they did allow us each one to get up there and do 3 minutes, and we had a reminder when we got to the 10-second point. But very, very difficult to get our questions answered, so I'm not really very happy with that.
Mr. Stewart?
You done?
Yes.
So I wanted to remind everybody that the TDC is once again hosting the Spartan Race here in December, which was last year. It was Tough Mudder / Spartan, and I wanted to challenge the city council.
Running the race?
Yes.
Right behind you.
Yes. So we have 3 months, December 9th through 11th, and it's a Skipper Ranch. So get
big
ready.
event.
Get ready. And
TDC.
also, I also wanted to mention that the Tourist Development Council has been doing really well with their proceeds. Their numbers are looking like for this last fiscal year ending the end of September, that they're going to be close to $1.5 million, which is the highest we've ever had. And I'm sure everybody realizes that there's a trickle-down effect to all of the monies brought in by the hotels and motels in the area, and it affects restaurants and gas stations and everybody. So Highlands County is doing quite well in that regards. I just want everybody to be aware of that. And in addition to that, GFNY will be here in October. The same bicycle group that was here last year. And that's it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Carlisle.
I really don't have anything to say other than I think we live in a wonderful city. I think it's been run very well.
Well, thank you. I guess we all share in that, don't we?
Yeah.
Mr. Bishop? Congratulations, by the way, on your new baby.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Exhaustion is setting in.
Have you been sleeping well?
Not much.
Okay. Keep
Uh,
nudging him. Keep
Just
nudging.
briefly to kind of give a brief synopsis of the CRA meeting from last week. To give a project update, I'll run through them real quickly. 209 Circle Park, which is the Roanoke. I believe they're kind of in the planning stages of that. Is that correct? We're haven't necessarily started construction yet, but we're getting very close. 301, I heard today that they plan on trying very hard to be open by Christmas. I think that would be
That'd be cool.
a huge
They've been working hard on it.
achievement.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're there every day.
Yep.
305 Circle Park, which is the Shoemaker Building. I don't know if anybody saw I think it was in
Yes.
a newspaper today. They
Yes.
made a selection.
Yep.
Chef Mac, who's been in this community for a very long time,
Yeah,
won that, and they are going to start the negotiations
great.
for that contract.
Nice.
Then the Salvation Army building, which will be the new Sophie's Cafe second location, that's in engineering. So things are moving forward with that. And then lastly, the Nancessory is just kind of, for lack of a better term, in limbo.
With
Farmers
farmer's
market.
market
Farmers market,
for now.
for now. Sorry, I told you I was tired. Other than that, they're gonna keep on doing the facade grants up to 10,000 with a match from the building owner. You know, painting, pressure cleaning, ADA updates. If your building needs any ADA updates. And then one thing that they did point out to me is that for the first time ever, we have over $1 million in TIF revenue projected for next year. So
Wow.
that's
Wow.
a big achievement.
Good news.
So,
Very good.
all right,
All set?
I think so.
Okay, and I only have one, as a matter of fact, and it was a little bit awkward,
just the-
but I didn't know whether it had become public information or not, but a citizen came up to me in a restaurant. I know the face, I don't know the name. And in the jewelry shop, another citizen came up to me and asked, and apparently they're both saying that they're either watching it on TV or they've been to live meetings, which is kind of interesting, and I think that's good for the city. But the question they asked me, and I was able to answer it because I received notification from our police chief a couple of weeks ago. Mrs. Mendel had filed a complaint with the police department,
Yes.
correct? On the
Violation of the Sebring City
of the
ordinance.
city ordinance at the
burlesque
burlesque show.
at Faded on June
At
5th.
Faded, and the state attorney's office declined to prosecute, so it is declined to prosecute, so it was no billed, and they're not going to pursue it, so the information is now out there to kind of close that gap, if you don't mind. Okay, and I do apologize for missing this.
I have a question about that. Why would our city not take care of that violation of the ordinance? Why would our city not think this was an important thing to address?
Well, I can't
The
answer that question
violation of
other
the-
than the police department didn't see the violation, and whatever the complaint was that was received from by the police department from you was reviewed by the state attorney, and they didn't see it. So maybe Carl, the police chief, can run out the back door or come up to the podium, whichever he prefers. Maybe he can answer that better than I can. I wasn't there.
No, Mayor, council, and staff, good evening. Chief Hoagland for the record. We did refer a charging document to the state attorney's office. That charging document was reviewed by the state attorney, and they determined they could not prosecute the case based upon facts and circumstances. So in talking with John Crumholz, who is our ASA, or Assistant State Attorney, he felt as though probable cause existed, meaning it was a technical violation of the ordinance, he could not prove that case beyond a reasonable doubt in court. So as such, it was no prost or no billed.
And that's not unusual. That happens in a lot of cases. I mean, serious cases. You'd be very surprised. That's why a lot of policemen get very frustrated in their duties and responsibilities, because it takes so long to put cases together, and it presented to state attorneys, and there might be a technical glitch or something else. So if you're disappointed, we're us former policemen and active duty policemen, that happens to us every day, believe it or not.
Frequently, and I don't know it's the case, in this case, there's a conflict between the law, interpretation of the law, and constitutional rights.
There you go. Clear as mud. Thank you, Chief.
Certainly.
We appreciate that. Okay, let me go ahead on to, I guess we're under new business item 10B. I'm going to open this up as a public hearing. The purpose of the public hearing is to receive input on an ordinance which we amend the Sebring Comprehensive Plan to revise the infrastructure conservation and capital improvements elements consistent with the city's updated 10-year water supply facilities work plan. To introduce the ordinance, I'll turn it over to Mr. Swain.
Thank you, sir. For your consideration on first reading, Ordinance 1504 is entitled an ordinance of the City of Sebring, Florida, amending the Sebring Comprehensive Plan, revising the infrastructure, conservation, and capital improvements elements based on the city's 10-year water supply facilities work plan incorporated herein, providing for transmission to the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity for review and compliance, providing for severability, providing for conflict, and providing for an effective date.
I'll turn this over to Ms. Brenda Torres. Thank you for being here this evening.
Good evening. For the record, I'm Brenda Torres with the Central Florida Regional Planning Council. And just to give some background information, in 2005, Florida legislature made significant changes to Chapter 163 and 373, just strengthening the link between land use and water supply. So there are water supply requirements that have to be adopted and by the local comprehensive planning. So that is to ensure intergovernmental coordination with the regional water supply authorities, which in our case is the Southwest Florida Water Management District, and ensuring local governments' future land use plans and development approvals are based on availability of adequate water supplies. And then also to support local governments in identifying and selecting alternative water supply projects consistent with the regional water supply plan. So the Southwest Florida Water Management District water supply plan was adopted in November of 2020, and so we have we have to do our own local water supply within 18 months of that. So just a summary of what the 10-year water supply plan looks at, and it identifies current water supply and demand based on the city's reported use, current and continuing reuse and conservation practices for water resource management, and then water demand based on population projections. The water supply plan is used as a data analysis tool to update the city's comprehensive plan. So in your packet, we have provided the Sebring Water Service area for you. We also have Table 8, which is a projected functional population annual growth rates. You can see that for every 5 from 2020, 2025, 2030, and 2040, you can see the percentage of change. And then for those different periods. In Table 10, we have the projected water demand. As you can see, I want you to really look at the projected average demand, and then and what is permitted, what the permitted capacity is. So you have that for 2020, 2025, 2030, and 2035 and 2040. And you can see there we are in the surplus, so we do have extra capacity based on what the demand would be and what we're already permitted for capacity. Regarding conservation, it is looking at and considering the Florida Water Star program. Also conducting audits of municipal water systems to determine areas that might need repair or may be contributing to increased water consumption. Also looking to maintain water conserving rate structure, and then education through outreach. So the city does have 2 water use permits that provide public water supply. One serves the city's general water system, which is permitted through the Southwest Florida Water Management District. One is permitted through the Southwest Florida Water Management District, which serves the Sebring Regional Airport. So the city did adopt levels of service standards for water consumption, which is at 102 gallons per capita demand, and then the city reported a 5-year average consumption rate demand of 112 gallons per capita demand. While in compliance per level of service operational standards of the Southern Water Use Caution Area of 150 gallons per capita demand, the city should consider amending its comprehensive plan according to align with the recent operating levels. So that's kind of like what we're here today, is just changing those numbers so that we're aligned with the new plan from the Water Management District. So currently the city utilities is permitted to distribute 5,811,000 gallons per day. The current average demand for potable water service is approximately 4,170,768 gallons per day, leaving available capacity of 1,640,232 gallons per day. So the city is prepared to meet projected growth through 2030 and 2040 planning periods as seen in Table 10. And then the city is encouraged to continue its conservation efforts, although you all do have available resources and capacity to serve. It is still really important to continue with conservation efforts. So just a quick what is being updated. It's the infrastructure element, the conservation element, and the capital improvement element of the comprehensive plan. So the amendments include language reflecting continued compliance with the Southern Water Use Caution Area requirements, and then updated reference to the Southwest Florida Water Management Regional Water Supply Plan. So here in objective CE10, potable water supply, we're changing that 102 gallons per day to 115. And then this aligns with the level of service for the recently reported operating levels. And then again, for facility service area level of service standard, again, we're changing that 102 to 115 gallons per capita day. In policy 4A1, we're changing the dates of, since the water supply plan was adopted in 2020, it's no longer 2015. Again, updating the 102 to the 115 gallons per day in policy 4A2. And then, again, this one's just changing from 2015 to 2020 to reflect the new date of the updated plan. At this time, I stand to take any questions or comments.
The only comment that I have, Brenda, is it would appear to me that under the data analysis section 2 for population, water demands, and current population going forward 2030 and 2040 seems very, very conservative, understanding that it's all based on historical data from the past. But I'll bet you, if I'm a betting man, those population numbers that they're showing us are gonna be a drop in the bucket compared to what it will really be in another 10 or 20 years.
Yeah,
I
so
really believe
the
that.
good thing about this is that we do look at it every 5 years. So,
Thank you.
so you will be checking out how population grows.
That's what I wanted to hear. Good. Yep.
Would it maybe be wiser to look at it every 2 years since we're in such a growth spurt right now?
You can make the recommendation to approve it or to look at it as a time frame that you would like. Usually we do 5 years to match what the Southwest Florida Water Management District also does. They look at their plan every 5 years. So they see population growth and then see what they recommend, and then we would look at our own population growth, and then based on their level of service recommendation, then we can make.
But I'm sure if there was a problem, you'd be able to look sooner than 5 years. If you saw there was a problem, you would just
Correct.
reevaluate, correct?
Yes, levels
Yeah.
of service can definitely give you those numbers. If there's any concern, then they would show up, yes.
Sure, but let's also keep in mind that we have a lot of extra capacity.
Yes,
So it's gonna
correct.
take quite a while for us to catch up. We've got a real good amount of extra capacity over and above our needs and future.
Yes, correct.
Okay, folks, under item, Roman numeral number 4, that's what we're here for. This is the public hearing. Now we're looking for public comments inputs and questions? Doesn't anybody want to talk about water? Water's important. Okay. With that, I will go ahead and adjourn the public hearing and ask council if they have any questions, comments, or concerns. And I should have waited for my comments, and I'm sorry that I didn't, but I just wanted you to hear them, just in case it spurred anything that could come forward out of that. Otherwise, I will request a motion.
I make a motion we approve number 1504 as presented on first reading and transmit to the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity for review and compliance.
I have a motion on the floor
Second.
and a second from Mr. Stewart. Any further comments from the dais? Any comments from the audience? Kathy, call the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. I'd like to go back under the mayor's report, item 6A. The gentleman who was stuck behind the burning semi has arrived, and he looks like he's intact. So, Mr. Dudley, if you'll meet our mayor up at the dais, we'll be glad to honor you.
Glad you got here.
And your
I bring
money. Great project.
This is Scott Dudley. He's with the Florida League of Mayors. He's the executive director, and I was at the league's annual meeting, and we got a great surprise, and he's here to present the check, basically, to Ada McGowan. This is Ada, come on up. Brenda, come on up. So, where's Mr. Duval? This is kind of the core that put this thing together. Mr. Duval is a Vietnam vet. Probably served in Vietnam. And, glad he did. Lisa White is here. And
Actually,
most of
if he
you,
was
all of you
in
know
an era, they
Vietnam,
call you a Vietnam
But this
vet.
is kind of the crew that put this thing together. He's here with Gary Chrysler, I'm sorry, who used to be on the board, correct?
Member and supporter of
So, Florida League.
Florida League of
Good.
Mayors. Can't be there because I'm not a mayor. but,
Okay, that's
yeah.
all right. So, but good. Scott, I'll let you kind of take over.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it, and thank all of you for it. I had a chance, I just drove by the spot where it's going to
okay.
be future home of, so that looks like a very cool spot.
Yeah.
So anyway, members of the council.
Did you see it?
I didn't get it.
Okay.
I was focused on getting here.
Okay.
So I did get to see a burning semi though. So yeah, 27. So it's shut down. It was very interesting. So helicopters and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. So it was pretty crazy to see. But anyway, I'm Scott Dudley. I'm with the Florida League of Mayors. I'm executive director, and we partner with Business Watch. Business Watch is an organization that is basically companies that want to engage in good government practices, help local governments with best management practices, and try to steer them in the right direction and try to help them, be of service to them. The League of Mayors, we train mayors, we do ethics training, we do leadership training, we do a whole host of things that we do for the Florida League of Mayors. Each year we do a grant program. It's the Business Watch Florida League of Mayors City Catalyst Program, and the city of Sebring applied for a grant, and we received, I think it was 24 requests. Only 4 got funded, and your city was one of them, to the tune of $2,500 for your project dealing with the Veterans Park, the Veterans Memorial. And I'm happy to, you guys hopefully already received the check. Hopefully there's somebody that can give me a nod on that. Okay, good, cool. Sometimes I've been like, hey, we haven't got it yet. I'm like, well, you can't keep this one. So I brought a big check. I like to do this. It's a big check. I feel like Vanna White. I get to hold the check. So $2,500 for the city of Sebring for your Veterans Memorial Park. And without Business Watch being partners of it, it's just a really good program. We vet programs that are important to cities, and that are going to help your citizens, and just in various ways, whether it's where we just did a library project in another city that I just had the opportunity to go talk to. But this is clearly an amazing project. I look forward to seeing it when it's completed. And for those who submitted it and worked on it and have been working together on this, my hat's off to them all. And thank you for your efforts a lot. We appreciate it. It's going to be wonderful. We're excited about it. You want to say anything?
No, it's just a pleasure to be part of an association that recognizes good work by citizens, and Train Technologies works statewide. We have over 1,000 employees, so we represent cities and towns all over Florida. So it's just a pleasure to be here to support you guys and to congratulate you.
Thanks for coming down.
Right.
We really appreciate this.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
you don't
you.
get to keep the big check no more. All right, this is purely for show. And if you'd like to, we could do some photos with the council and whoever you want there, if you want to.
We'll get us right here.
Okay, all right, cool. You want to hold the check? You do us the honors of holding that check there. You go.
Yeah.
Good. We'll get on this side of you.
Let's get in front. Let's get in front there, Scott.
It's awful dark over there.
You want us out of the way?
We're fine.
Right, you can.
Stand up there.
What's up, man?
So congratulations.
What a guy.
How are you?
So glad you made it.
Good job, young lady.
Thank you for your service. Thank you.
Hello there, young lady.
Thanks for
How are
coming down.
you?
Thank you.
Well, congratulations on good work. Job well done.
Oh.
Okay, I got 2 phones to take pictures with you, okay? First shot. 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. Smile. One, two, three. Smile. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Smile.
Very good. Good job, guys.
Yep. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your
Yes.
service a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Thanks for coming.
a burning
Thank you so
semi.
much. Thank you for your service too. This is awesome.
So some local, fortunately.
Oh, praise God.
Thank you, sir.
Like old 27, and I got to go around it all, and I was like, follow the locals.
Yep.
I think Ada's hanging on to that check.
Appreciate y'all very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. You better get
Yeah!
She wanted that.
Take that, bitch.
Ada wanted that check.
Okay, moving right along here under new business item 10C. This will be the second of 3 public hearings. I will open up the public hearing. Public hearing for ordinance number 1505, an applicant initiated small-scale future land use map amendment to the future land use map, specifically changing the future land use designation for 2 properties totaling 9.99 acres and located at 2838 US 20 alternate 27 and 1383 Sebring Parkway. Sebring bearing portions of parcels number S32, 34, 29, 090, 0030, 0010, and S32, 34, 29, 090, 0110, 0010, and lying in section 32, township 34, South Range 29 East, Highlands County, Florida, from medium density residential to low density residential. With that, I'll turn the introduction of the ordinance to Mr. Swain, which is gonna sound almost the same as what I just said.
Eerily similar. Ordinance number 1505 is entitled an applicant initiated amendment to the future land use map, specifically changing the future land use designation for 2 properties totaling approximately 9.99 acres and located at 2838 US alternate 27 and 1383 Sebring Parkway, Sebring, bearing portions of parcel numbers, their strip numbers are included, and lying in section 32, township 34 South Range 29 East, Highlands County, Florida, from medium density residential to low density residential. This is on your agenda for first reading.
And as I mentioned at the previous public hearing, the reason for a public hearing is to receive public input on the future land use development plan for 2 parcels located at 2838 US 20, alternate 27, and 1383 Sebring Parkway, from medium density residential to low density residential. And with that, I will turn this over to the very capable Carlin Daniel.
Good evening. For the record, I'm Carlin Daniel at Central Florida Regional Planning Council. We're going to be looking at 2 properties located at 2838 US alternate 27 and 1383 at Sebring Parkway. Both parcels consist of 9.99 acres. The owners are Lake Jackson Holding and Lake Jackson Management. Again, we're going from medium density residential to low density, and then a zoning of R3 to an R1. So currently the future land use is medium density, which allows 5 to 12 dwelling units per acre. And we're going to be going down to low density residential, which allows 5 dwelling units per acre. Current zoning is an R3, which is a multiple family district, and we're going to be going down to an R1, which is a single family district. This is just to give you an idea of the parcels surrounding the one we're looking at, to give you an idea. And looking at future land use, because we're going from a medium density to a low density, we are going to be losing some dwelling units on that property. We're going to be approximately losing a little less than 70 dwelling units per acre. And regarding zoning, we're going to be losing a little under 77 dwelling units per acre. Or dwelling units, my bad. And then for public facilities and services, for potable water, it's in close proximity to the subject area, and we have enough capacity for that. For sanitary sewer, again, close proximity, we have enough capacity for future building. Solid waste, also, the subject area will be served by a city-approved collector. Transportation developer will be required to review at time of development. Public schools, there's more than enough capacity for that. And recreation space, there's adequate recreation and open space. And then results from Planning and Zoning Board on September 13th, last Tuesday. The Planning and Zoning Board unanimously moved forward with the small-scale future land use map amendment and the rezoning. And I'm open to any questions or comments.
Okay, this is the portion where I encourage the public for the comments, their inputs, and any questions they may have. Hearing none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And we will see if there's any comments, questions, concerns from City Council. Well, I guess we can see if there's a motion that we can get on the floor here.
I make a motion we approve number 1505 as presented on first reading and schedule second and final reading on October 4th, 2022.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Last chance. Anybody want to make a comment? Kathy, call the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you. Are you up next again?
It was, yeah, I did
You-
the ordinance 1505 and 1506 together.
Okay, this is another public hearing, folks, the final one tonight, by the way. So we'll open that up. This is an applicant initiated amendment of the official zoning map of the city of Sebring, specifically changing the zoning classification for two properties totaling approximately 9.99 acres and located at 2838 U.S. Alternate 27 and 1383 Sebring Parkway, bearing Sebring, bearing portions of parcels number S 32, 34, 29, 090, 0030, 0010, and S 32, 34, 29, 090, 0110, and 0010 from R3 PD Multiple Family District to R1 Single Family District. Mr. Swain, you are up.
The ordinance 1506 is on your agenda for first reading tonight. It's entitled an applicant-initiated amendment to the official zoning map of the city of Sebring, specifically changing the zoning classification for two properties totaling approximately 9.99 acres and located at 2838 U.S. Alternate 27 and 1383 Sebring Parkway, Sebring, bearing portions of the two parcel strap numbers from R3 PD Multiple Family District to R1 Single Family District. This is the companion case, ordinance rather, revising the zoning.
Correct. And with that, the purpose of this hearing, as we have stated in the past, is to receive the public input on an ordinance that will amend the Sebring zoning map for two parcels located at those locations, 2838 US 20, alternate 27 and 1383 Sebring Parkway, from R3 to R1. Folks, it's your show. Since no one has anything to comment on, I guess I can close this public hearing.
Yes, sir.
Council members, questions, comments, concerns? Let's get it over with. This is a good one. I'll entertain a motion. Looks like Mr.
I'll make a
Usually your
motion.
job, right?
I'll make a motion, we approve number 1506 is presented on first reading and schedule second and final reading on October the 4th, 2022.
And I second it.
And we got a second from Ms. Mendel. Any other comments from the audience? Any further discussion up here? Kathy, call the roll.
Yes.
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 And our favorite part of the meeting.
Okay.
Can't get out of here fast enough.
Business from the audience. I will call you up as I have received them. Each person, it will be limited to 3 minutes. I'll give you about a 10-second warning so you can wrap it up. First one will be Mr. Neil Golden, the Constitution.
I'm Neil Golden. I wasn't born here, wasn't raised here, but I chose to come here. After 28 years in the Keys, it was time to move on to someplace where I could afford to live. I'd like to start with a quote here. We establish no religion in this country. We command no worship. We mandate no belief, nor we ever. Church and state are and must remain separate. Those are the words of President Ronald Reagan. I have seen in the last few meetings attempts to force religious beliefs on others. Amongst other things that have been suggested, that tarot card reading at Monserc Wine Bar is witchcraft. That's kind of nonsense. But even if it is witchcraft, it's protected by the U.S. Constitution. everyone is allowed in this country to believe in what they want to believe. They are not allowed to try to promote their beliefs. They can persuade other people, but they cannot push other people to their beliefs. Just one other thought. We had somebody in the last meeting suggest that because of the burlesque shows and the tarot card readings, there's been an increase or there will be an increase in crime in the Central District, in the Circle area. I have a question. Is our police chief still here?
Yes. He is.
We've had burlesque shows since 2019 and tarot card readings since 2019. Have you seen any increase in crime in the Central District?
10 seconds, Mr. Golden.
I'm not prepared to answer that without conducting research, sir.
Okay.
Chief said that he's not prepared to answer that until he does some
Yes, sir.
research.
That's all I had to say.
Thank you, Mr. Golden. We appreciate you coming up. Mr. Dean? Misuse of taxpayers' money by, it looks like CRA?
I'm James Dean of Sebring. Last time I spoke, City Council told me to go to CRA. They would answer my questions. I went to a CRA meeting. They did not answer my questions, but I did observe their methods. They made a decision about a building on the Circle with no public discussion. So fast, I missed what it was. All discussion was apparently at their secret meeting earlier that day. Sebring CRA is just very secretive. I'm not here to discuss morality. I want to discuss ethics and misuse of the tax money on the waterfront. I reach out tonight to the elderly, the disabled, and those who protect elderly and disabled, especially veterans organizations. Hopefully you've seen Waterfront Concept Plan Number 1, which CRA paid $150,000 of your money to design this plan. This plan blocks off all public driving access to the lake, destroys all handicap parking, destroys the ADA-compliant Civic Center, and replaces it with a sand volleyball court. No one can drive to the waterfront but must walk from across the street. The plan is not ADA compliant and discriminates against the elderly, the disabled, and most Sebring citizens. Total cost was estimated at $28 million before inflation. That has been put off. The initial phase of destruction has not. City Council authorized CRA to borrow $6.5 million to bulldoze the Civic Center, the Arts League, destroy all handicap parking, and block all drive-in parking. The money is in the bank. The public is paying interest on it. David Lydell is likely to start bulldozing it at Christmas as he did in Ancesui. Major public expenditures are normally raised by a bond issue approved by a public referendum of voters. How did CRA convince City Council to pass a referendum and approve a loan for a project that is illegal because it is not ADA compliant? What happens if disabled persons file complaints with state or federal agencies? What happens if 3 disabled veterans hire an attorney and file a class action suit to block the destruction? If destruction has been started, the class action could be expanded to include every disabled person in Sebring. This is not ideal, but could happen. A better solution is for veterans groups and those who protect the disabled and elderly to step up now to enforce the rights of those citizens before destruction begins. Veterans have great respect, have the wisdom of age, and have access to legal services which many disabled do not. As those veterans would agree, those who ignore history are destined to repeat its errors. We're now 6 months into 1939, and 1941 may come sooner than we expect. Now is not the time to tear down the Civic Center. The best solution is to scrap the entire Kimley-Horn plan. CRA hired the wrong consultant. They should have hired the consultant who wrote the book Sebring City on the Circle, or the firm that restored the Amtrak train station.
Thank you, Mr. Dean.
Okay, thank you very much.
I have to make a response to this, and we try to listen to this every meeting, Mr. Dean, about misinformation. No, you can sit down. It's just about misinformation that you have, that the Sebring Civic Center, there is no bulldozing gonna happen. You've given information to the public that is not correct, and you continue to do so. You were at the CRA meeting and told the CRA and the public that they got the big loan from John Shoup's, the mayor's bank. I was not involved in it.
I did want to ask you that.
It-
because I
you-
simply repeated what I felt the general public said. And
It's not the general public said, it's what you said, and you keep giving misinformation that Phase 1, the project has not been approved yet. We stalled the project because there's several issues we're not gonna knock down, and even the previous mayor, George Hensley, was the one that came up with the idea to take that down to make parking more available for citizens. So you keep giving us false information to the community that is not making it good. So you have to get more information before you speak.
That's what I would like to ask. So what is the bank that loaned the $6.5 million?
You'd have to, I believe it was Raymond James Bank,
Yes, it
somewhere
was.
through, pardon?
Raymond James.
Is who it was, so it was not our bank.
Okay, and secondly, I've heard, and I've never had it confirmed, that CRA also borrowed another $2 million apparently from that bank. Is that true?
Early on they did, yes, but they
Okay.
consolidated the debt into this debt, so there's only one loan that they have at this point in time.
Okay,
But
so-
that money is not to tear anything down at this point in time. It's for planned projects in the future where they can do a complete project at one time instead of trying to piecemeal it together. And that's what they're organizing, that's what the CRA is putting together, so the information that you keep giving to the public is so wrong.
That's why I'd like to get the correct information.
Well, before you speak to the public, why don't you call me? You know where I work. You've been there before. I've known you when you first came to town. So it's an open, I mean, if you want information, but to come and sit and stand here between us and CRA and to give false information, and I said that just festers this community. We've had so much of that in the past 4 or 5 months that it's crazy. And we just have to get it to the point where you know where I am. You can come and talk to me. You haven't talked to me in 3 or 4 years probably. But and you know I'm open. You know, every time you come in, I've talked to you. So, but that's, if you want information, and I'll help you get the correct information. But to speak to the public, and then it gets printed in the paper. And that's where we've got to stop misinformation and get current information. And the CRA, to Terry's questions and that stuff, I think where the CRA is at, there's so much that becomes misconstrued that they're to the point to say, give us a question and we'll research it to make sure we have our ducks in a row and can give you the proper information. But I think that's it's driven to that point where there's been so much name calling, there's been so much misinformation that people are starting to get very protective of what they say anymore. And it's really, and this whole mess that we've gone through for the last 4 or 5 months has hurt our community. I mean, just the community itself, it's made a division, and we shouldn't have that. It ran pretty smooth, but now, I said, it seems like we've got just factions out there that are fighting with each other, and we don't need to keep coming to the city council. This is where our business should be done for the city. If there's a concern of the city, that's where the business should be done. And not come up and having to be, and I'm not talking about you this time, but we come up and we get preached to. And it goes nowhere. And so we have to figure out how do we maintain what we're doing here, but also have progressive and work together where we're not siloed in this thing, but we're working together. So I'm open to talk to anybody, and you know that. We talked in the past, so and I'll work with you on it. So, all right.
And I want to make one other comment on the meetings about those buildings that they came and discussed at the meetings. Those
The what?
meetings the meetings that he went to were secret. Those meetings were posted. The press was notified, and those meetings were posted at City Hall that they were open to the public.
Yeah, we need to start dealing in facts, not hearsay.
Can I make one more statement?
Yeah,
I should have done this in my
Sure.
council comments. I have a statement here from Julie Fowler, who's a CPA with Clifton Larson and Allen,
Okay.
regarding the audit of the CRA. The summary of those reports and an unmodified opinion of the financial statements, which means we believe that they are prepared in accordance with the generally accepted accounting principles. In our report for government auditing standards, there were no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies in your internal control system that we needed to report to you. And there were no instances of non-compliance that we are aware of. We had no findings that needed to be reported to the Auditor General. And finally, in our opinion, the Sebring CRA is in compliance with all the requirements of the investment of public funds statutes and to the CRA specific statutes related to allowability of expenditures, submitting your budget to the Board of County Commissioners, all of those very specific things. We are very happy to report that you are in compliance with all of those for this year. So this is a third-party auditing firm that did an audit independently and found no wrongdoing.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
We appreciate that very much. Great news. Okay, continuing right along here is our Marley Colon. She wants to talk about Downtown Circle. Come right up, please. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you. My name is Marley Colon. Thank you for having me. I've been here 20 years. I married here. I have my kids here. And I want to thank you for your service. I'm sure that it cannot be easy to take decisions that will affect this town and generations to come. It come to my attention that recently a family-friendly business will have been gathering or making connections with a sensual adult entertainment, and a citizen and a taxpayer. It concerns me the fact that funds that are from taxpayers' money are being used to facilitate this. So I just wanted to make a call for reconsideration of the use of this taxpayer money towards these practices. That's all what I have to say.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, and the final request form is from Mr. Tom Mendel. City Council approval of property leases. Pass this to Kathy, please.
Tom Mendel. So, as directed by the City Council, I went to the CRA's meeting on September 12th and asked what the basis was for determining the value of the 3 lease agreements with 0 rent and 0 purchase price, and after 5 or 6 years. And this was the 120 Northridge Drive, 209 Circle Drive, and 301 Circle Park Drive. The CRA answered my question by email later in the week. In response, and I quote, "There is not a set criteria that we use other than to try to find a mutually beneficial agreement that will bring the greatest positive impact to the Sebring CRA district." And I understand that principle.
Sounds good.
The problem is, how do you determine that if there isn't some kind of a financial analysis that's made that says, and it's got to be down on paper, written down, that here's the investments that the leasee's making, here's the amount of property taxes that they're going to be paying, here's the cost that the CRA has for the property value, here's the cost for property repairs, here's the cost for, let's see, I had a couple other items. Oh, loss of rent for 5 years, and then the 0 purchase price. And so I'm wondering, was that information presented to the City Council when you approved those lease agreements? Because I don't understand how you can approve it if you haven't seen something written down other than the CRA just kind of, well, that sounds about right. Because unless you have additional information that the CRA didn't present me, but I asked for it, I'm just wondering how those decisions can be made.
It's awful quiet up here. I'm not sure how to respond to that, to be perfectly honest with you.
I think we get a recommendation from the CRA.
Well, I know that.
I mean, they do
yeah.
the analysis.
Right.
And they interview the people.
Right.
So, I mean, that's where that's gotta come from there. So they have not presented it. You're right, Tom, they have not, so.
Right, and I don't think they have one, because I asked for it specifically, and they didn't provide anything. All they provided me was this
I know they haven't
narrative.
provided that type of information to us, so you are correct, so.
Yeah, so I don't see how the City Council can approve those kinds of decisions without having some financial analysis and backup that proves, not proves, but demonstrates that they're spending taxpayer money wisely. So I just recommend that you would request a financial analysis in the future before you approve those types of things.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Is there some way that we should do some research on that to see if that would be an appropriate?
I think that is one of many ways that you could go about analyzing whether it was beneficial to approve a lease that would allow for the property to be transferred to a third party for less than fair market value. I don't believe you are required to undergo that stringent analysis or do anything differently than has been done, but that is certainly something you all could request if you wanted to.
Okay. Okay. All right. Any other discussion on that?
No.
Item 13A is city administrator's business. It's a resolution number 2022-20, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Natelick for the background and any questions you may have for him.
Good evening, Council. Mayor Shute received the attached monitoring report from the Department of Economic Opportunity as part of the city's participation in the Small Cities Community Development Block Grant Program. The compliance review had one finding and requires the city to update the city's Section 504 ADA policy and transition plan. David Fox of Fred Fox Enterprises conducted an evaluation of the city's public facilities and produced the following. The attached resolution with exhibits. The exhibits are a self-evaluation transition plan, a schedule of improvements, and a City of Sebring, Florida Section 504 grievance procedure. I can go over the recommended improvements if you'd like, but this resolution will require the city to perform the ADA improvements according to essentially a two-year plan.
Okay.
So the improvements that you noted in the self-evaluation, we have 2 years to complete those?
Correct. So year one, what David has produced is installed Braille ADA bathroom signs at Civic Center, Charlie Brown Park, and Max Long Park. Also to install guards to expose plumbing underneath the bathroom sinks at City Hall, the Civic Center, City Pier Park, and Veterans Beach Park in Max Long Park. Then in year two, install ADA compliant ramp to council seating platform at City Hall, install an ADA compliant parking near bathrooms at Charlie Brown Park, install ADA compliant access route to City Pier Park, Charlie Brown Park, and Max Long Park, install ADA compliant water fountain at the police station, and install an ADA compliant ramp Pier Park playground.
And when must this be completed by, Scott?
Within 2 years.
2 years.
Within 2 years. Okay.
Then there's, how about the playground down at the City Pier? Or that is Pier Park, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm thinking Veterans Beach, yeah. The other pier.
Okay, any questions for Scott? Comments, concerns up here on the dais? Entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve resolution number 2022-20 with the attached exhibits as presented.
A motion, I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Stewart. Any comments from the audience? Yes, ma'am. You gotta come up. It's part of the physical fitness program. I'm in charge of it, can you tell?
You have handicap access to the Veterans Park, so.
But we don't have handicap access to Mary Tony's Park.
Fred missed that.
Is that not on here?
No.
I didn't see it on there. Thank you for telling
Yeah,
us
we
that.
should have one.
Scott? Scott
Thank
just
you for
went,
pointing
mhm.
that out.
Thank you.
See, you made them
Yes.
turn red.
Very important.
We'll make sure we take care of that then.
Thank you.
Scott, you got your note on that one then?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other comments from the audience? Kathy, call the roll. I'm sorry.
I got a question. Hang on a second.
Sorry.
Scott, you want to bring us an update on our water damage that
Sure.
happened over the weekend and where we're at on it?
Why don't we take care of this and then we'll
Oh,
do
I'm
that.
sorry.
Yeah, let's go ahead and, we've got a
I jumped
motion, we got a
ahead.
second. Kathy, call the roll.
Ada just threw me off, so.
She does that a
That's
lot.
what she does.
Yeah.
Bishop,
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes.
Randall.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Yes, go right ahead, sir.
All right, there's my question.
So rain event that we had this past weekend produced damage on Lakeview near Don Drive. And the water overwhelmed the structure that was there, crossed the road, and then undermined the soil on the opposite side. So the structure itself is still intact. There was just too much water for the structure to handle, so it just jumped the structure, if you will, and undermined the other side. Excavation Point has done the repairs. My understanding is that tomorrow morning, there's a handrail, if you guys will recall, that was sitting on top of that structure. That's going to be reinstalled tomorrow morning. They're going to open the roadway. It still needs to be paved or a surface paving done to it, which hopefully will be done tomorrow as well. But they are going to reopen the roadway for traffic tomorrow. As you all know, this is a county maintained road, but we had a collapse at Lakeside and Gulfview, and the county made repairs to that, and that was completed actually yesterday afternoon.
Did they put a larger culvert under Lakeview, or just repair it?
No, just did a repair.
Okay, waiting on
as-
the engineering for all that.
Yes, and
Okay.
I had Civil Serv come down actually yesterday and take a look at the repairs they were making. They agreed with the repairs that they were making. But as you all know, that's going to get an entire new infrastructure when we perform the engineering. And
I read your email that you was asking Civil Serv about that. I didn't know if it was addressed at this time or we're waiting for the complete Civil Serv
yeah,
engineering.
in order to implement what they're proposing to do, first of all, the structure itself probably is going to take about 20 weeks to get in. So it's not something that you could come in and just do.
Got to get it done.
You know, overnight.
Yeah,
if you will.
right.
Yep.
So repairs were affected. They also took a look at some flooding that we had up and down Lakeview just to give credence to the engineering report that they have provided. One other item, we are going to have to deal with, I think, Don Drive, maybe even outside of this phase one. We'll see. But they're going to provide us with a plan and a cost to do Don Drive and the structure that we're having a problem with. There's a pipe that runs down Don Drive and it's undersized. And right now, as you all know, it performs a 90-degree into the structure that was compromised, if you will. And water flooded over Lakeview and actually took out the property owner's beach across the street because there was so much water flowing down Don Drive. So we're going to look, because it's an independent facility of all of the other facilities, it is something that we can address outside of the overall plan. And so that's what they're looking to propose for us.
Yeah, we just want to revise the mayor's prayer. We want the water, we just don't want it all at one time.
Right. You forgot.
And we really.
I'll talk to him about that.
Okay, thank you, Scott, for that. Also, I think you have another item that you need to bring forward in the form of a contract for the purchase of a fire truck that we already approved in the current, in the 22-23 budget, and Chief Border will bring us up to speed on that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mayor, Council, Chief Border for the record. Like you said, you've already approved this. We were trying to get it secured and all the documents signed prior to October 1st to hopefully beat the October 1st rush.
Right.
last truck we bought, it was like an 8-month build time. We're expecting a 14 to 15-month build time on this one if we order it prior to October 1st. And we're expecting an additional 4 to 6 months on top of that if we have to wait till after October 1st. Speaking to 10-8 today, all they require to get in line, so to speak, is a signature on this contract, and they said that Mr. Natelick could sign. And Mr. Swain has reviewed the contract. I won't speak for him, but I believe you're okay with it.
It's a little blank in parts. This is a company that the city has dealt with, purchasing equipment that they have purchased in the past with, and they think very highly of. So if you were going to sign a contract that was a little skimpy on details, doing it with a group you have worked with before and
Well,
like is pretty good.
We have a whole long, about 10-page spec that if you want to see that, it refers to it as bid number 733.
If there's any revisions that you can initial or put on there before we actually sign it,
I think we'll attach.
put it in the mail.
I think we'll attach the quote and the specifications
Okay.
to this contract
Okay.
for signature, and then we're still going to pursue the financing options in the interim.
So the purpose of the contract is to say simply, look,
Is to
yes,
get
we're gonna
live.
buy it from you.
Correct.
So, get cracking.
So what kind of details were we lacking? The
Well,
ones he's talking about, all the,
Chief Porter says they incorporate the terms of the warranty, for instance, into the proposal. The contract itself is blank on the page where it says warranty. So apparently they address it, just not in this particular document,
so not a problem.
Yes, the spec sheet spells all of the warranties out for each individual
Attach the
item.
spec sheet to whatever you sign and you'll be good.
Chief's putting his career on the line, I mean, that's good enough.
Well, Scott is too. Scott signed it.
Yeah,
Scott's
whoever
gonna-
signs it has to make payments.
Scott's gonna sign it, so will Bob, we don't have to worry.
It's all right, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have Bob review it, so.
See? Oh,
I
man,
think we should just do it.
I'm telling you.
It's not like you can run around to Walmart and pick one of these up.
For real, yes.
So if we get this signed, it would be in before October 1st, and we would.
Yes,
Right.
ma'am.
Imagine that, you buy a 22 or 23 truck and it's already almost a year and a half old when you get it. Oh, well, I guess that's the way it works.
Motion or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. A motion to
Yeah.
approve authorizing Scott to sign.
So moved.
We got a motion.
Second.
Whoop.
Got 2
Mr.
seconds.
Bishop actually.
Yeah,
he-
he
woke
yeah,
up.
he did.
He woke
He
up.
beat you.
This much.
Yeah, he woke up.
Any comments from the audience?
Hardly.
Just want to put in an order to buy a fire truck? Only one.
Only one?
Only
Thank
one.
y'all.
Kathy, call the roll.
Bishop.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes.
Mendel.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes, and I did neglect at the very beginning, and I apologize again on the comments, concerns, and liaison reports, that in a very sad way, I have to announce that Charlie Cullins was one of our prominent citizens for many, many years. Very great guy and a friend to the city. You don't find people like Charlie Cullins walking around too much anymore, and he passed away on Sunday. So we lost a great citizen.
One of the
there.
good ones.
One of the really good ones.
I don't know, just
So say a prayer for his family. And
on top of that, most of you knew Robert King. Robert King passed away this week.
Wow.
Robert King from the real estate agency.
Yes.
Oh,
And they're a
no.
big part of the.
Wow, they
King-
happen in
Robert
threes. I
King.
don't want to hear that.
Oh.
Oh.
Don't look at me.
He's older than I am. He's older than me.
Only
He's
a
older than I am.
couple months or
A
so.
couple of months.
Don't be picking on me.
Yeah, I hear you. So anyhow, keep both those folks, say a prayer for them. Certainly last but not least, because otherwise I get in trouble for this, we have the city clerk's business.
Yep. Pay the bills, please.
So moved.
Second.
We got a second, let's go. Anybody want us to pay the bills? Kathy, call the roll.
Bishop.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes.
Mendel.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes. Hearing nothing else, I think it's time to go home. This meeting's adjourned. And thank you all for being here tonight.